Okay, so this lesson is all about logs. So we're going to start just by changing an equation written in log form to exponential form. So it's actually pretty easy. This little number right here, this is called the base. Okay, so if I want to take this log and I want to write it as an exponential, here's what you do. Your base becomes your whole number, so 2 becomes your whole number. What it equals, so this number right here becomes your exponent, so that's 2 to the third. And then the big number right here is what it equals. So what this basically says is 2 to the third equals 8. And if you have a calculator and you type that in, then you'll see, yes, that's true. 2 to the third does equal 8. Alright, so let's do the second one. Again, this little number becomes your whole number, so 4 is going to be my whole number. What it equals becomes my exponent, so -4 becomes my exponent, and it equals 1 over 256. Now, I want to pause right here. I want you to pause this and go get a calculator, a graphing calculator right now. Alright, now that you have a graphing calculator, let's practice typing this in, because I want to make sure you can do that. So you are going to type in 4 raised to the -4. Now, how you type that in your calculator, you hit the 4, type in 4. To get to an exponent, you're going to hit this button right here. It looks like a little up arrow. So hit this button and then type in -4 and hit enter. Now, when you type in 4 to the -4, you get 0.00390625. We don't want that, we want a fraction. So to change it to a fraction, you hit math. Math is this button right here. And then you hit enter twice. Math, enter, enter. And when you change it to a fraction, you should get 1 over 256. Okay? Let's do a couple more of these just to make sure you really understand. Again, your base, your little number right here, becomes your whole number. So that's a 4. Whatever it equals is your exponent. And then the big number right here goes after the equal sign. Now, is that true? Does 4 squared equal 16? Yes, it does. Okay, so these are really easy to check to make sure you're doing them the right way. All right, I got one more of these. Your little number becomes your big number. What it equals becomes your exponent. And it should equal 729. You have a calculator. Double check it. 3 to the 6th is in fact 729. Okay, so that's going from log to exponential. The next part of your worksheet is the other way. It's going to give you exponential and say write this as a log. But y'all, it's very easy. Okay, here's what we do. We're going to put log. Remember, your big number is really your base, so it's log base 15. Your exponent is what it equals. And then the big number at the end is the big number right here, 3375. All right, let's do this one. Start by writing log. Your big number is your base, right? Your exponent is what it equals. And then the number right here that it equals becomes your big number right here. So log base 4 of 2 is 1/2. I got 2 more of these just to make sure we're good. So write your log. Your big number becomes your base. Your exponent is what it equals. And the number here, what it equals on top, becomes your big number there. Okay, one more. Log. This becomes your base, so 125 goes here. Your exponent is what it equals. And then your big number here goes there. Okay, so that's the first part of your worksheet. It's pretty easy. The only tricky part is, like, you do have to memorize this. Okay, there's no easy trick. You just have to memorize what goes where. Okay, so that's the first part of your worksheet. Not too bad at all. The next part really isn't too bad either. It says to solve these. Okay, evaluate each expression. So here's how we're going to do it. Again, your base becomes your whole number. So we want to figure out 3 to what exponent will give you 81. 3, because that's your base. to what exponent will give you 81? If you don't know, just start trying. And some of these you're not going to know. So grab your calculators. Try 3 to the third. No, that's 27. Try 3 to the fourth. That's 81. So if x is 4, then that equation is true. 3 to the fourth is 81. So your answer is 4. All right, let's do another one. So your base becomes your whole number, so 16 to the what power we want to figure out will give you 4. Now, some of you, if you're good with your math rules, you'll see, oh, hey, 4 is the square root of 16. And the square root is the same as a half. Some of you won't see that, so I'm going to show you another way to do these. Your very last unit, you practiced getting the same base so that we could solve them. We're going to do that this entire unit also, so get ready for it, okay? So I'm going to turn both of these into 2's, okay? 2 to the fourth is really 16. 2 to the fourth is 16. And 2 to the second is 4. And I got to take this little x and I got to bring it down here. Okay, so let me go through what I did one more time. I said 2 to the fourth is 16. And 2 squared is 4. And this 16 already had an x, so I brought that down here. Now, if you will remember from the last worksheet you did, if you have the same base, they cancel out. So you have 4x equals 2. Divide by 4. And 2 divided by 4 is 0.5. Or what we prefer is 1/2. All right, I know you might be confused. We're going to do a lot more. Here we go. Here's some more. So again, whatever your base is, that becomes your whole number. So we want to figure out 3 to the what will give you 1/9. Most of you I worked with on the last worksheet, and if you remember, I said if it's a fraction, that means it has to be a negative exponent. So if you're not sure, just start trying them. So let's try 3 raised to the negative 2. You have a calculator, please get it, type it in. 3 raised to the negative 2. And you get 0.111111, turn it to a fraction. And if you remember, that's math, enter, enter. And that is 1/9. So if I did this 3 to the negative 2, then I would get 1/9. All right, let's do this. 2 to the what will give me 1/64. Well, it's a fraction, so I know it has to be a negative. So let's just start trying them. I know it's going to be higher than 4. I'm going to try 2 to the negative 5th. 2 to the negative 5th. I get 0.03125, math, enter, enter. I get 1/32. That's not right. So it's probably going to be -6, but I want to double check. So I'm going to do 2 raised to the negative 6. I get a long decimal, hit math, enter, enter, and I get 1/64. So if x is -6, that will give me 1/64. So if it's a fraction, you know it has to be a negative, and just grab a calculator and start trying to figure out which negative number it is. Okay. All right, let's do some more. I want to figure out 8 to what exponent is 16. Well, if you get a calculator and start plugging in numbers, you quickly will realize nothing is going to work. 8 to no power, that whole number, will give you 16. So I'm going to use the rule I used before. I'm going to turn both of these bases into a 2. So I know that 2 to the third is 8. And again, I'm going to bring this x down. And I know that 2 to the fourth is 16. Now I have the same base, which means these 2's cancel. So I have 3x equals 4. And divide by 3. That won't reduce, so x is 4/3. Okay. This one's going to work pretty much the same way. 9 to what exponent will give me 243? It's not going to work. I'm going to get a base of 3. So some of you might be like, well, how do you even know what base to start with? Start with a smaller number. I know it has to be 3 because 3 squared is 9. I can't use a 2 because 2 to nothing will give me 9. And 4 won't work. So just use your common sense really with that. So I know 3 to the second is 9. I'm going to bring that x down. I'm not sure about 243, so I'm going to start trying numbers. I'm going to try 3 to the fourth. That's 81. That doesn't work. I'm going to try 3 to the 5th. That does work. So even if you have no idea, y'all, you have a calculator, just start trying. Okay, so 3 to the 5th is 243. Have the same bases, so they cancel. So I have 2x equals 5. We would divide by 2, and x is 5/2. And I think, oh, okay, so that's the first page of your worksheet, okay? Pretty basic log rules. Try it, see what you can do. When I get to your facility, I'll help you out. The back side of your worksheet looks truly exactly like this, okay? I just copied and pasted it off of the worksheet. And I have the worksheet right here. You can see the second page. Here are the notes. I just copied and pasted. And here are the 2 examples that I'm just kind of going to work through. So where can I start? This is your basic equation for a log function, okay? A is going to be your number out front. Log base b, whatever your base is. X minus h plus k, okay? Here's the translations you need to know. H, so we're talking about this right here, H. If it's positive, we're going to move right. If it's negative, we're going to move left. K over here at the end is vertical translation. So if it's positive, it would move up. If it's negative, it would move down. A, this number out front. If it's bigger than 1, okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's going to stretch vertically. If it's between 0 and 1, which means it's a fraction, it could be a half, it could be 3/4, it could be 3/8. If it's between 0 and 1, it's compressed vertically, okay? And if it's less than 1, that just means negative, okay? If it's negative, that means it's going to be reflected across the x-axis, okay? Okay, so let's just go through these. You're going to have problems like this, and I'm going to say, tell me what the transformations are. What is happening, okay? I'm going to start with my A. Don't worry about the negative. All we worry about is what it is, and A is 3, okay? Well, 3 is bigger than 1, and I'm coming right here. Let me kind of guide you through how I figure all of this out. It's A, so I'm looking right here. A is bigger than 1, right? Which means it's going to stretch vertically. That's why I put the graph is stretched vertically. Now, because it's negative, right? A is less than 0. It's a negative 3. That means it's reflected across the x-axis. And I got that from right here. If it's negative, it's reflected across the x-axis. Next up is H. Now, okay, this part gets confusing. Look at your equation up here. This is where I am. It's a minus h. So if your equation is minus a number, that really means it's positive, okay? Look at this real quick. It's a plus 4. That means that 4 is actually a negative. Here's why. If I had x minus negative 4, what happens when you have minus negative? It changes to a positive. So it's kind of backwards of what you think. If it's a minus, it really means that number is positive. And if it's a plus, it means your number was a negative. Okay? So what I really have is that h is 2. It's a positive 2. So because it's positive, it's translated 2 units, because it was a 2, it's translated 2 units to the right. And the last is my k here at the end. It's a positive 1. So since it's a positive 1, the graph is translated up 1 unit. Okay? We're going to do another one. Let's do another one. All right, again, I'm going to start with my a. It's a fraction. It's 1/4. If it's a fraction, that means it's compressed vertically. So because a is 1/4, it is compressed vertically. Again, it's a negative. Well, if it's negative, that means it's reflected across the x-axis. We just went through the h. Because it's a plus, that really means it's a negative 4. So that means it's going to go 4 units to the left. 4 units to the left. And last, at the end, it's a minus 2. which means it will go down 2. Okay, so this is what the backside of this 7-3 worksheet looks like. You're just listing all the transformations. I will go ahead and tell you each one has 3 transformations. Okay, all 4 problems have 3 transformations. So if you get more than 3, you did something wrong. If you get 1 or 2, you didn't do them all. Okay, there should be 3 transformations. So try the worksheet, see what you can do, and I will be by to help you soon. Okay, thanks.